It's the shop tour video you've all been waiting for. Alright, get up there. You don't know how long it took to train those pieces to do that. Sadly, once you train them, they get burnt, so you got to start the process all over again. But I have mastered the art of training them. Alright, it's going and it's smoking my shop up. So that's it for now. I'll bring you back when we're mostly clean. So, we're going to start here. Light switches. This light switch controls that bank of lights. This light switch over here controls both banks of lights. So I can turn all of them on, or I can have half of them on if I'm just working over here, which is plenty. Moving along, got the breaker panel. That one there controls the one that fan's plugged into for the stove, which also controls the joiner. That's only the one outlet. It's dedicated because that's what's going to be my dust collector eventually. Then, sadly, only have 30 amp service coming into the shop. That is sad. So I've got around the problem of flickering lights by installing this one. This is my outside light. That's my inside lights. So if I trip a breaker with a machine, I'm not in the dark. And then this here, outside porch light. So there's where I store my clamps. This is a thickness sander I'm working on. It's a work in progress. I've got my router table underneath it. I'm going to be building a dedicated router table, so you'll see a video of that soon. I'm not making any dates permanent yet because I don't know. I put some tools under there I store. There's a shave horse for when I make axe handles. This will probably be the next project you'll actually see because I want to get this out of here. It takes up space. It's a live edge dresser I'm building for my room. I store some of my planes here, some of them there. I store that sander there. That cabinet stores small parts. Over here we've got my lathe / disc sander. Not a bad lathe really. I've got my old miter saw stored here. That's for sale if anybody's interested. It's $70. Drill press. I store all the drill bits here. That's its dedicated circuit for the miter saw and all of this. This is my storage cabinet. I store all my planer knives and such in here. Here I store sandpaper. You get the idea. Yes, that's wrapping paper. I bought it because it was 10 cents, so I use it with my glue ups. All my nails are stored here. Here's the miter saw station. I'm going to build wings on it eventually. But I charge batteries for the camera there. I charge my drill batteries there. In here, I have manuals and blade storage. This one, I've got my spray gun and some hacksaw blades I bought. In here, I've got that electric heater I use for when I'm doing finishing. It's radiant heat. It's really nice. I've also got a fan and that little propane heater. And in here, I've just got some light bulbs I might need. Here's a rolling cart I built for around the shop. Very useful for taking pieces from the workbench to the planer to the saw to the miter saw and back to the bench. It's very useful. Here's a chair for if I'm bored. Scrap bin. This is some rustic pine I have and some butternut. There's a bunch of just random pieces, like there's bird's eye maple up there. There's some really nice oak. There's some elm. Down here is mostly maple and poplar. I also have some blue beech. This is my rolling plywood cart. It's quite useful because, well, it rolls. That makes it quite useful to have. I would store the plywood vertically, but my ceiling's only 7 foot 10 inches. That's just a junk bin. Here's where I've got some planer chips stored for fire starting. My pine lumber's under here, that's why I store that. This is where I got before the camera card got full. I had to go through and delete my old videos, but there's where the ash is stored. Up here I store my white oak and my red oak. I have the red oak on the outside. Here's all cherry that I have stored. By the way, that nice dark piece there, it's a piece of mahogany that washed up in a flood of all things. Really nice. This wooden bucket thing, I'm building a dust collector head for it because I've already tested it. And it was halfway full before I filled it manually by hand, but it separates the dust before it gets to the dust collector. Here's the joiner. It's only a 6-inch joiner. I'm going to first upgrade the planer, obviously, because of the last video. Needs to be upgraded. Then I'll be selling this, and I'd like to get either an 8 or a 10. There's just some storage shelves with table saw accessories. Shop vac. The rest of this is just an absolute mess in this corner. Here's a bigger cyclone separator I built. I just got to seal that up because it's got too much air leakage. Wooden bandsaw, which I do want to work on again. I want to get that finished. It's where I store my firewood. This is very important to me. This is where I work on my chainsaws, and I do a lot of chainsaw work. At least 5 out of the 7 days of a week I'm using one, so I need a dedicated work area. If any of you are looking for recommendation on 2-cycle fuel, doesn't matter what brand you run of saw, this is the best 2-cycle mix I have found yet. It's Husqvarna XP, which is the professional version, 2-cycle oil. Let me look here. It is fully synthetic. I notice at least a half, maybe 3/4 of a horsepower better than using the cheap stuff. It burns cleaner. I believe it might give you a little better fuel economy, and it's much easier on your saw, and it's not super expensive. You can buy that at Bailey's online or a logging store. I'll put the link in the description because I think that is about the best 2-cycle oil there is. Radial arm saw, probably be selling it. Don't really use it. I don't like it. I'd much rather use a miter saw or table saw. Here's the workbench I built. I've even put a vise on it now. I have like marking stuff, measuring stuff on this side, screwdrivers, hammers, that little drill, little block plane for fine adjustment, pencils, impact driver, the 2 drills. I've got this stop I just screwed down for planing. It butts up against it. This sign, I'm going to go over it really slow. Over here. I'm carving that out by hand. You can see I've been carving. I'm going to carve all that out. I'm going to spray paint it like black. I'm going to plane off again. I was using the hand plane for this, getting good with it. I'm going to plane that off so you'll see the black letters in the poplar color. Then I'm going to clear coat it. Over here, I've got the planer, which Grizzly still hasn't gotten back to me, but I am pretty sure it's the brushes. I think I have it plugged in, so let me start it up. You hear how it was kind of surging on, that seems to me like it's the brushes. And then to hook it up to the dust collector, I just unplug the table saw and I hook this one up. Dust collector, obviously, sits here. It's in my table saw right now. Got a pencil sharpener, but usually I just use a sander. Table saw. I made a 0 clearance insert. You can see it. I goofed up in a few areas, but first one. This saw is kind of a pain to make it for. Get the video on how to do it. Look at Thomas Lytle's channel on YouTube. He has same saw as me, and he made a video how to make a 0 clearance insert, and also cleaning the table, which I did. I sanded it down good. I was just watching his one video and made me decide that I'm going to do this. I wasn't planning on it, but I'm going to make a wooden table to fill in this gap. That way I don't have that gap. I took this bolt and I bolted it on the table. And that's where I store my miter gauge. That's where I store my earmuffs. Last year when I got this, I told FastCap, because they sent it to me for free, that I would do a review on it. And I told them I'd use it for about a year. To be honest with you, I don't like it. It's just awkward to use. And if it hits the blade, it could probably explode because it's plastic. I prefer something like this, where I can hold it and push it through like that. And then if it gets chewed up enough, I just cut, and I cut down here, and cut off that chewed up part, and then I have another one. I can use it one more time before I throw it out. And if it gets chewed up, it's no big deal. I like them better. They're free. I use scraps to make. This, it's just awkward to use and it's too twisty. The only thing I found that it really works good for, hold my earmuff. The outfeed table, it's identical. It's the same as the last one, except I took that piece of OSB off. I lowered it down so my miter gauge can slide over it. And I put on this pine top, which it's pretty nice. Down here you can see I've got those set up, and that's going to be open all the way up. These two, I'm going to make a bunch of drawer boxes like this, and they're going to slide that's just how that's going to go. They're going to slide out like that. So I think that'll work really nice. Over here I've got some small power tool storage. And then there's just a bunch of random storage. I've got a can of gas. This is all my walnut scraps in there. Got some chainsaw stuff. I've got my little generator. Over here, squeaked in there, that's the finishing stuff and my glue. Chainsaw stuff there. This I gotta get moved out. I'll take you out back here. Out back here, I got this area. I gotta finish that because there's a gap there. I need to put a piece of plywood there, 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 and there. A door's gonna go here. Then I'm gonna put that house wrap around it on the roof. I'm just gonna go the whole way around it with house wrap. And then I'm gonna take this extra siding I have up there, and I'm gonna side it so you won't even see the house wrap. And on the inside you'll see the nice wood. Because what happened, the roof isn't leaking, but the reason all this got wet is it was super windy last night. It's still kind of windy, and the rain just blew right through here. So that's how that is. Wood stove works good, except it smokes a little because it doesn't get as good of a draft as it should. I'm gonna take you outside and show you the outside. That's gonna be much quicker. I don't want to make this video too boring. So out here, I've got hardwood up there. That's pine. This is all green hardwood in this stack. And there's more dried hardwood for me to burn. There's all the siding. There's my forge building. My log pile. Over here we've got it cleaned up a lot. This building here is new. This is the Oliver shed. I've got my old table saw out here. That's for sale. That's $150. And I'm putting a brand new combination blade on it. Got these two lawnmowers out here. This busted lamp, which is what I use for light out here. I just plug it into that outlet, which is on an extension cord. See all those ash boards? I think 2, 4, 6. I got 7 ash boards on 2 tanks of fuel in my saw. So half a gallon of gas got me 7 boards. All of them are over 10 inches wide. They're between 10 and 12. And they're 8 foot long. So I have them stored here on sticks drying. The Oliver shed is just covered with a tarp. We had to bail water out of it this morning because these little puddles, that one's filled up again, was full of water. Except they were drooped down about 2 feet. They were loaded. In order for it to fit, I had to cut that out there so the stack will fit through. But then you just back it right in and it stores in here nicely. Over here is my scrap pile. Don't really care about that. That's just how I get extra money. And there's a wood stove I'm working on. So, we'll have a little bit of a talk yet in here. Let me set this up so I can just talk and hopefully you'll see me. I hope my head's going to show up. So, I'm going to also build an assembly table. I'm thinking maybe 3 foot by 3 foot square assembly table for doing glue up and assembling cabinets and such, because this workbench here, it's really good for heavy pounding, like actual working, but not the greatest for glue ups. So I want to build an assembly table. I want to work on that Cyclone, so I have a mobile one. I'm going to get a bigger dust collector to use with that one back there. And then this dust collector here, the one you saw earlier, that's going to stay hooked just to the table saw. So that should do all my dust collection needs. I also want to finish that dresser, which that's probably going to be the next thing you see. And there'll just be a bunch of shop improvements because I'm working on improving this right now and I'm really trying to reorganize it to make it most efficient. One of the other channels I'm subscribed to, the one that wanted the shop tour video, I believe it was him, he's in the middle of doing it too, so he'll know what I mean. It's going to be chaos for a while. So, I think we're going to cut it here. As usual, please like, comment, and subscribe.